So this is our final project, which I just want to show you two examples because there are many examples and many shapes that I cannot describe all of them in this video. I just want to show one or two of them. So the first one is parallelogram. The first statement says both pair of opposite sides are congruent. So the sides, opposite sides are congruent when they have the same measure. This red side is congruent to the other opposite side, which I got the statement right here. And also in a rectangle, the opposite sides are congruent because they have the same measure. Let's go to the other statement. All four sides are congruent. So in this one, all four sides are congruent. It's in some shapes, like for example, in square, the all sides are congruent because the all sides have the same measure. But in some shapes, like for example, in parallelogram, uh, rectangle, all sides are not congruent. The other statement says both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So this one is true in some shapes. For example, in parallelogram, uh, opposite sides are parallel to each other, and also in rectangle, rhombus, and square, they are all the opposite sides are uh, parallel to each other. But in this one, trapezoid, the green side is parallel to IH, to the other green side, but the yellow, which is the orange sides, are not parallel to each other because they intersect in one point. If we extend the lines and trapezoids, they are not, the opposite sides are not parallel because they intersect each other. So the other statement says both pair of opposite angles are congruent. For example, we have in a rectangle has all, all angles must be 90 degrees. So the opposite angles are congruent. All four angles are right. So in some shapes, like for example, we have a square in a rectangle, all angles are 90 degrees. But in other shapes, for example, we have kite, trapezoid. In these shapes, all angles are not 90 degrees. Diagonals bisect each other. Yes, that's true. In every shape, if you look at these shapes, parallelogram, rectangle, square, and the other shape, and so on, the diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals are congruent. In some shapes, the diagonal have the same measure to each other. For example, in this one, which is a rectangle, AC is equal to 7, BD is equal to 7. So the diagonals are congruent. Diagonals are perpendicular. So in this one, if you look at this one, this is a rectangle. The diagonals are perpendicular to each other because the diagonals make 90 degrees, 90-degree angle to each other. Consecutive angles are supplementary. So if we add b if you look at the first example in the parallelogram, which is DAB plus CBA is equal to 180 degrees. If we add up those two angles, we're gonna get 180 degrees because they are consecutive angles. So sum of the interior angle. So if we add the sum of the interior angle measure is 360 degrees. If we add 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90, we got four angles 90 with 90s. So we're gonna get 360 degrees. So the interior angle measure is 360. Diagonals bisect opposite angles. Exactly. In each shape, if you look at the diagonals, they bisect the opposite angles.